Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Richard's Podcast Land. And today we'll be having Sean Rohani that's going to be our guest for the interview. But before we get started, how are you doing today so far?
I am doing fantastic. How have you been?
I'm doing very well. I'm so happy to have you here in my podcast series. Really
Yeah, me
appreciate it.
too. Thank you so much for inviting me over.
You're very much welcome. I have a lot of questions to ask you about your career and some simple stuff. Now, further than ado, let's get started, shall we? So, here's my first question. What's it like to become a voice actor in many animated shows that you voiced at?
I mean, it's a dream, obviously. It's one of the hardest types of voice acting to be able to do. So, I still know some super talented friends that have yet to have that opportunity. So, I'm very very lucky to do that. And obviously some of the stuff I've done like I was a fan of as a kid. So, it's really cool to be a part of now.
Well, that's really great to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far, which your answer leads me to the most important question I need to ask. How did you became interested in acting and what inspired you to pursue this as your career? Since where did this all started?
Oh boy. Let's see. I was a shy kid, but I always loved like doing impressions and stuff of friends and family and getting a laugh out of that. But I didn't think of even doing it as a career at all until let's see. Thought I was pursuing animation and like animating my own series, working on production. I ended up being an intern on a show called Randy Cunningham Ninth Grade Ninja, and I was just curious about the voice acting part of it. So I begged everyone to let me sit in on one of the recording sessions, and they were nice enough to do that. And I got to see John DiMaggio and Kevin Michael Richardson perform, and they're obviously like legends in the industry. So, but it wasn't until seeing them that I thought, one, they're extremely talented and this is so much fun to watch, but two, like the thing that I thought was an imaginary job, like being in the NBA or something, suddenly became real because I was seeing it happen, and it demystified it. So I was like, oh, this might actually be like a possible path to work towards. So I think it was from then that I started to slowly like take some courses, try to get better and make some embarrassing mistakes and hopefully learn from them along the way. But that was probably the moment that made me shift into thinking of it as an actual career.
Well, that's really great to hear your whole experience so far. Like John DiMaggio and Kevin Michael Richardson are true legends. Like, how is it like working with them? Like, did you had a great time with them? Like, did you ever talk to them about their careers or something? Just
Oh,
asking.
yeah, so I was still just an intern then. I wasn't even a voice actor yet. This was like I want to say
Oh,
11 years ago maybe, but they were both super nice, and Kevin Michael Richardson was such a like teddy bear. He was very open and helpful and had no problem chatting with me. And the director of the show, I want to give a shout out to her, Jenny McSwain. She's the one that sort of from the very beginning, I mean, she's a legend. She's one of the like, founding voice directors of our industry. And even when I was just an intern, she gave me so much of her time and kindness, and let me like exchange emails with her and gave some advice, and let me grow and make some mistakes without judging me for them. And she introduced me to John DiMaggio and Kevin Michael Richardson too. And yeah, Jenny's amazing.
well, that's really great to hear. I mean, I'm really happy you had a great time with them, honestly. Such true legends, as always.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really are, and they worked so well off of each other. But which is actually kind of rare these days, even in animation, to record with somebody. But it's always a lot of fun when you get to be a part of that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, after you accomplish your acting skills, have you ever taken any voiceover classes? Like, how is it like working with Mig Wingert? Because I saw that video of Sebastian Brannen that you mentioned it with him. Yeah, say,
Oh, yeah. I think I actually went the opposite route. I actually no, you're right. Yeah, I took some acting courses, maybe a little too early. I wasn't, like I said, I was still really shy, but it wasn't until I took the voice acting classes and didn't feel everyone staring at me because I'm focused on the script, that I felt more comfortable to learn and be vulnerable and get better. But with Mick Winger, I mean, he's amazing, and I've taken classes from a lot of different teachers, and I think that's super important if you want to grow as a voice actor, but especially with, reputable teachers. And I mean, he's one of the best because I some people like to just have teachers that only have nice things to say, even when they're not ready to be professionals and still have a lot of work to do. I'm kind of the opposite. Like, I like when teachers will be completely honest with you about what you need to work on and everything, and without being rude or mean. And Mick was like that. He was so knowledgeable, so nice, but also very clear about things that everybody could work on, and and what's at stake, like how to fill in the gap between where we all were and all the more established voice actors. So he was, yeah, fantastic to learn from, and yeah, very reasonable price too.
Well, that's really great to hear. I mean, if anyone is looking forward to getting into a career in voiceover, taking classes with Meg Wingard is the best way to start. Trust me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with him.
Yeah. Say, Charlie Adler, what about him? I remember that you did took voiceover classes with him since I saw your resume. Say, how was it like working with him as well in your class?
Actually, man, I mean, I remember it being an incredibly amazing experience. I don't That feels like so long ago, but he first of all, he's such a character, and he's so entertaining. Just the way he talks and how passionate he is and how funny he is. You don't even have to like get on a mic to learn from him and be entertained by him. But um yeah, he was very kind of the same as Mick Wingert, very direct but also very encouraging. Um Sometimes he would just tell people, like, they'd go over a script, and then his only direction would be, we'll do it again, faster, faster, without thinking. Go, go, go. No thinking. Just because it's so easy for us all to get in our heads and start directing ourselves without getting lost in the copy as the character. So sometimes just that speed reading helps you not judge yourself and really live in the character's shoes. And yeah, that was actually I up until then I hadn't booked a single animated series, and then I think it was literally a couple weeks after taking the course with Charlie Adler that I ended up booking DC Superhero Girls as Hathset. So clearly he did something right, because yeah, I was trying for a while, but he was incredible.
Yep, he is such a true legend. Say, did you ever grow up watching Charlie Adler's voices of one of the characters in a few animated shows when you were young before you took the classes with him? Just
Oh,
asking.
yeah, of course. I don't think I knew when I was younger that it was him doing the voices, but I watched everything on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network in the 90s, and Cow and Chicken obviously was a big one, which he's a big part of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I all the above. I love Dexter's Lab. I hope I'm not aging myself for your audience. I hope they all actually check out these shows because they're incredible.
Yeah.
Dexter's Lab, Doug, Rocket Power, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Hey Arnold. There's so many great ones that I grew up with.
Yeah. I also do remember that he was Spike from My Little Pony, which is back in 1986. I think that's the year where he voiced him. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was before my time, so I'm not familiar with that one, but
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Say, after you finished taking your voiceover classes, how long did it took to make your first demo reel before you submitted to one of your agents or the producers?
um, I, I don't remember the timing, but I know that I took I recorded my animation demo a little early, and first of all, at the time I was just interested in animation and video games and stuff, so um they say it's much better to record your commercial demo first because that's what agents gravitate towards, and then once you're with an agency, then they'll give you opportunities to audition for animation. But yeah, I don't remember the timing of everything, but I know I think I recorded my animation demo too soon, and it's a tricky thing to time because um the the thing that's tough about wanting to be a voice actor is, and when you're starting out, is you just want everything to happen right away and you're so excited to do it, but also you don't know yet what you're not good at because you're prioritizing the wrong things, if that makes sense. So for me, I was always good at, doing a wide range of textures and pitches, so low gravelly characters, high pitch characters. So I did a bunch of different characters for my animation demo, but I wasn't yet. I could have been a stronger actor, which is way more important. And a lot of the characters that I did were sort of generic characters. Um, let's say like whatever, a New Yorker, which has been done a million times, or I know a lot of women do like witch characters, which I've heard people say don't put that on your demo because people already know top voice actors that can do all that stuff amazing. So you're better off um, bringing something onto your demo that's a little bit more niche. Like for me, for example, my background, I was born and raised in California, but my parents are Persian. They came from Iran. So maybe, and I've heard those accents growing up constantly. So some adding that might have been more interesting, more unique. Um, so yeah, it's definitely better to uh, get better at acting first, and just be really think about what characters you're putting up beyond just, oh, this is fun and I like to do it. Like think about, will this be competitive among the John DiMaggios and Kevin Michael Richardsons and Tara Strongs.
Yeah. I mean, making a demo reel could be really expensive to make as well. What I do recommend for people is wait until they're ready accomplishing their acting experiences, because if they just go straight into a studio and just spend all their money, boom, all their cash is no more. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, it's very expensive and it's gotten much more expensive too. So, yeah, it's and there are also like budget demo producers, and uh it doesn't make sense to go with somebody super cheap if it's not gonna present you in a good light, because ultimately you'll end up paying more than just going with maybe somebody that's priced a little higher but really knows what they're doing. So definitely research who you're going to do it with too. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yep, you do have a point there. Yeah. Okay. Next question. How's it like being the voice of Hassaid from DC Superhero Girls?
That was so much fun. Because that was a situation where I got to be in the booth with a couple other voice actors. So it's really fun playing off of everyone. And I just love the tone and the animation style of that show. So like having it be comedic instead of just straight like action was really fun to play with. I only had just one session for that. So it was it was one of my favorite sessions and I had so much fun with that character. I just wish I could have a billion more sessions and just do it for the rest of my life because it was so much fun to do.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. I'm so glad you got to be a part of the DC universe. So happy to hear it.
Thank you. Yeah, I let's see. I almost on technicality am a part of DC, Marvel, and Star Wars. There was way back there was a little like toy that I booked to record, and they scheduled me on a time that I was out of town and I wasn't able to do it, unfortunately, and I had no studios where I was. So if I did that, then I would have been able to say I've been a part of the trifecta, but um, hopefully one day.
Yeah. Say, after you got casted as has said in DC Superhero Girls, did you ever stay in touch with any of the other cast members like Kimberly Brooks, Carrie Walgren, or something?
Yeah, so I follow them on like Instagram, and Kimberly Brooks is someone that I bump into maybe at a convention like every couple of years. And each time I go up to her and say hi, and she's one of my favorite people in the industry. Like very, very fun. Even that first session, because she was there too. I had just gone through like a I just lost my stepmom to cancer. It was really uh tough time for me. I literally booked Half Set the day that she passed. and and I also tore my meniscus. I could barely walk because my session was the day after I tore it, and so I looked like a mess, like, with this giant, brace on my knee, and like kind of like thinking about my stepmom. And Kimberly Brooks came up to me, who she had no idea who I was, but was super like kind and just supportive and very easy to talk to. And even if I haven't seen her in a couple of years, anytime I see her, she's like always incredibly friendly, like most people in the industry, but also like very comfortable to just be like real and honest with her. If you're going through something, then she's easy to talk to about it. Like just a genuinely awesome human being, um, and incredible voice actor, obviously.
Yeah, Kimberly Brooks is such a caring person to all her fans she appreciates. So happy you had a good opportunity to speak with her. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I definitely, and I'm sure she'd be that way with anyone. So if you ever see her at a convention, please say hi to her. I'm sure she'd be thrilled.
I will someday. If there's a chance, if God notices, but we'll see.
I have faith in you, my friend. I
Yeah,
think it'll happen one day.
yep, really appreciated.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, next question. How's it like being the voice of Prismo from Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake?
I mean, obviously a dream come true. That was so before I pursued voice acting, like I said, I was pursuing animation, and I even did a storyboard test for Adventure Time. Um, and a storyboard test is a test they make you take if you're applying for a storyboard job. They give you like a scene, and you have to, you know, draw a bunch of thumbnails. And since that was a storyboard driven show, you come up with the dialogue and everything. So it was really creative. And I got some good feedback from the creator of the show. Um, I didn't get the job, but yeah, obviously, I loved Adventure Time when I was younger. So to get that role was huge. That was a dream come true because I even interned at Cartoon Network too. So that was my first time I got to work, record at Cartoon Network in their studios. So it was a trip down memory lane, and I loved it so much. I know the original actor, there was some confusion about like when I got the audition, I assumed because the original actor Kumail Nanjiani is very famous and works constantly now, so I thought it was a situation where he could no longer have the time to do it. Um, so when it came out that he was kind of bummed that he never heard about it and would have loved to do it, I felt horrible about it. But ultimately, I tweeted to him, got his blessing. He was very nice, and yeah, to work on the show, it's just such a like crazy imaginative show, and everyone on it is so extremely talented, and including um uh my director, who yeah is a really really, again, kind of like Kimberly Brooks, very easy to talk to, and um just honest, fun, encouraging person.
Yeah, so happy you had a good opportunity to be in the Adventure Time universe. Since I used to be crazy watching that show when I was like 7 years old, it was a great time since I watched that series as a kid.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. That's what makes it crazy. But yeah, again, like all these sessions are so much fun to do, but I really, I feel like sometimes people fans might start to learn about the voice actors, but I can't say enough about the directors I've worked with too. Like I said, for Fiona and Cake, it was Christy Reed, and she was incredible. There's such a and that's such a specific tone for that show, especially because they wanted it to feel a little bit older, because the Adventure Time fan base grew too. So that's pretty tricky to do, but she did a fantastic job with it.
Yeah. Oh, and Christy Reed, are you talking about the one that played Fiona? Just wondering.
No, Chrissy Reed directed the show. So like
Oh,
yeah, she would like I'd record a line, and she'd give me some adjustments, and then I'd go again, and that kind of thing. The directors are a big part of helping create the characters that fans end up loving.
well, that's really great to hear. I'm sure she's a wonderful director as well. To all the
Oh yeah,
voice actors she works with, trust me.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. How is it like being a part of the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers film as the father car?
That was fun. That was a really interesting show or film. Again, like I grew up watching Chippendales Rescue Rangers, and this is definitely it, the film is such an original in how it like how it was written. It was really fun to watch. But I was looping on the show. So basically a group of voice actors would fill in all the like little background characters that don't yet have voices, things like that. And yeah, one of the things I got to do was the father car, which was brief, but you know, fun to do and yeah, just fun to be a part of and loop on because you get to see some of these scenes, you know, many months before the movie comes out. So it's cool to get a sneak peek of it all.
Well, I'm really great to hear so far. I mean, I used to grow up watching Chip and Dale since I was a kid, and I tried to do the squeaky voices of one of the chipmunks, but I'm not really that good at it.
Well, if it
Yeah.
makes you feel better, I know they would record them n- not so high pitched, and then they would sort of fast forward it and or pitch it up so that the characters that you hear, the voice actors when they were recording them sounded lower, but then they pitch them up. So who knows? Maybe if somebody put that same effect on your voice when you were impersonating them, you would have sounded just like them.
Yeah, you do have a good idea as well. Yeah. Say, that film almost reminds me, like, I think it kind of reminds me of the film called Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where all the
Yeah,
Disney and the Looney Tune characters come together. It's like a multiverse, from Avengers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. And you know they mix live action, actual human beings with cartoons too. Yeah, it's I never thought of that. You're a genius, Richard. That's an
Yeah.
amazing comparison.
Thanks. Really appreciate it. In fact, you're a genius as well for telling me all the recordings for how they get the high pitched voices in the studio. Yeah.
I just remember learning about it a while back, but that's very kind of you.
Yeah. In fact, you're actually one of the only voice actors to tell me the idea that I should put that in my book someday. I should.
Hmm.
Maybe when
I,
the interview is over. Oh, sorry. You can go first. Sorry. I was
no,
just
no,
joking.
no problem. I was that. That's I'd be interested to read your book once you eventually write it. But yeah, yeah, it's cool. Sometimes a lot of video games they do that too. They add textures and stuff to really help create the character they're going for. So it's like a collaborative effort, which is part of the fun of working in this industry. But let me ask you, how did you get interested in voiceover and interviewing people like me?
You see, when I was like 14 years old, I went to a convention center at Holiday, Missouri, and I met Jennifer Hale. And tell you, she was really, really kind of friendly when I first met her. And I remember that she used a Skills Hub, which is a really good company actually, to teach
Hmm.
people voiceover workshops and classes. And when I was like small, I used to impersonate the characters watching the YouTube videos with Brock Breaker, who does impressions to make music. I tried to do that as well, but I found I'm not really that good at it.
Mm. Well,
Yeah,
it's good to try. I mean, that's the most important thing. I know people who don't try things because they're scared of failing, and that's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Because, you know, if you fail, who cares as long as you're learning from it. And it seems like you did. Like that experience made you feel like, "Oh, maybe this isn't for me." So it helped you learn, okay, maybe I should focus on maybe the voice acting instead of the impersonating and music. So yeah, that's a huge skill to have.
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I do remember when I was like 14, it was like a little bit high pitched voice, but whenever I try to do the low pitched voices, it really hurts my throat. To be honest, trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always important to warm up your vocal cords too because, you know, it's a muscle just like any other one. So you don't want to go straight to bench pressing 500 pounds without stretching and everything. You got to gradually build your way up and down. But yeah, I actually learned in a class recently that it's the super low um, textures and voices that that can do more damage to you than the high pitched textures because of how slowly I think your vocal cords are vibrating. There's something about I don't know. There are smarter people that can explain it better than me, but yeah, you definitely want to be smart about how you approach like low pitch characters.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of it, I have been studying this book called Voice Acting for Dummies my sister got for me for Christmas. Hopefully,
Cool.
yeah, my sister was really kind when she first got me this since she knew that I was so crazy about voiceover.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I am in chapter two. Hopefully, if I finish some of the chapters, I could be able to study the whole voiceover experiences and stuff, unless I'm ready. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, and yeah, that should definitely help and practice along with reading it obviously. Do you also there's a great book by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt too. You should check out their book. It's very
I
like
should.
practical and breaks down, everything about what it's like to be a professional voice actor.
Yeah, true. I should look that up someday. Yeah, yeah, like
Sure.
Yuri Lowenthal, he is such a legend. Voicing Spider-Man, he's perfect. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he does
Yeah.
such a phenomenal job as Spider-Man. I definitely agree with that.
Yep. Okay. Next question. How's it like being the voice of Burke from Final Fantasy VII Remake?
That was a lot of fun too cuz I like playing. There's so many different fun types of characters to play, and when there's some comedy with them, it makes it that much more fun too. And he was like a hoodlum character with a high, scratchy voice, but also kind of an idiot. Um, his whole group was like buffoons, so it was really fun to play into that. And that was uh, it's a different style of recording. The JRPGs, the Japanese role playing games, they usually already have footage, not always, but usually like footage that you can look at, and it's kind of more like you're dubbing than you're doing like prelay animation like I did with DC Superhero Girls, where you're recording the voice and then later on they animate to it. Um, so you have to sort of time it to scenes and stuff, which is fun to do. But yeah, that was a a really fun character to do and play off of the other dimwits that were my friends in that in that game.
Yeah, I'm really great to hear so far. I mean, I used to grow up playing the Final Fantasy games when I was small. It was a great time, which I think it was in the PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so happy you got to be in that universe.
Same, yeah. I played it as a kid too. So that's the amazing thing about being a voice actor is you kind of literally get and figuratively get to relive your childhood. So like you're reliving your childhood and that you get to sort of play for a living and it's challenging work, but ultimately you're playing and doing things that you love doing as a kid, imagining, and then sometimes literally you're reliving your childhood because you work on stuff that you saw as a kid and loved as a kid. So yeah, that's one of the funnest parts about being a voice actor.
Yep, so happy to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope I'm sure one day you'll experience it too, but it's a lot of fun.
yep, hopefully. Okay, next question. How's it like playing a bunch of characters in Shaman King?
That was fun too. Shaman King was my first uh, anime gig that I booked, and it was the characters that I played. Oh my gosh, I don't even feel comfortable talking about them here because it was very like raunchy, but really fun characters to play. And, at that point, I had done a lot of live action dubbing, which is usually like very grounded performances, lots of like dramas, but you're replacing an actual human being's voice. So when I got that first anime gig for Shaman King, the characters couldn't be any more different than the live action dubbing I've been doing. I was playing a character who would fly around and wear a giant diaper and smoke cigars and like sounded like a scratchy New Yorker and like yeah, it was I didn't grow up with anime as much, but it definitely made me curious to watch more anime because yeah, the characters and stories they came up with was really fun to explore.
Well, I'm really happy to hear so far. I mean, I did remember grew up watching the original series, which was produced by Four Kids Entertainment.
Mm.
Not sure if you're familiar with that company. Hmm.
Um, I know that I didn't watch. I know that there was the original series that I didn't watch as a kid. I think the only thing that I watched as a kid, anime related, was Dragon Ball Z, which like everybody watched uh, when I was a kid. But yeah, it's definitely like trying to watch more. I recently watched Pluto, which was a really fun, really interesting show that I was lucky enough to be a part of. But yeah, super well written, well made stuff.
Yep. I mean, I still need to watch Pluto because I recognize, like, is it part of Astro Boy? Because it almost looks exactly like the original character.
Yeah, yeah, they're related. I'm not familiar with Astro Boy. I just know that that's sort of what it derives from. So I'm probably the wrong person to talk about that stuff. But yeah, they're related, and it's definitely an interesting show to watch. Very like almost like a film noir, like detective style anime. Um, so yeah, if you have a minute, you like that kind of stuff, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I should watch it someday. Hopefully, if I have time.
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah. Let me know what you think.
I will. Okay, next question. What are your hobbies when you don't do voice acting? Like, do you play sports? Do you have a job? Or something?
Sure. I'm lucky enough that voice acting is my job. So, you know, it's very hard to get to that point. A lot of people need other jobs to help, make a living. Um, but hobbies, I mean, yeah, so many different things. I definitely play sports. I played soccer and basketball last night, so my body is very broken right now. I can barely move a muscle. But I love watching sports too. The Lakers are my team, and I watch soccer. There's a league in Spain called La Liga, and they have a team called Atlético de Madrid, and that's my favorite team. Um, and then yeah, I just love nature so much, and growing up and being out in California, thankfully, the beach is close by. So when the weather's better, I love body surfing, going in the water. I love nature, going on hikes, going to the mountains, seeing snow, and basically like the best therapy for me is to just be um in nature. So that's one of my favorite things to do. And then yeah, I just love learning also. So I watch all kinds of YouTube videos about languages, linguistics, world history, yeah, all kinds of stuff. What about you? What would you say your hobbies are?
Well, I usually play basketball, but all of a sudden, I'm not really good at shooting them on the hoops because when I tried to shoot them up, the basketball ball came right at me and it really jammed my finger like right here
Oy,
last year. It
yeah,
was, yeah, it was purple really
yeah.
bad.
Oh man, yeah, that used to always happen to me, but yeah, it's tough. Do you
Yeah.
watch basketball too, or you just like to play it?
I just like to play, but I usually watch basketball sometimes with my father because I usually watch the sports in a few seasons.
Okay. Do you guys like where are you at? What team would you guys support?
Miami Heat. It's really
Miami?
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's that Laker connection. Pat Riley owns the team, and he was a huge coach for the Lakers. So I love the Miami Heat a lot.
Yep. As a kid. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. They used to have this player, Alonzo Mourning. He was the center. He was one of my favorite players for a while, but
Yep.
back in like the 90s, 2000s. Yeah.
Hmm.
Very
Oh,
nice.
yep. Really nice as well. Your whole experiences and stuff. I should probably go hiking someday and explore nature by myself because usually I'm not allowed to leave the house unless I'm like 21. But
Mm.
hopefully, if there's a chance, I get to explore all over, especially California, since I'm, a California fanatic. Yeah.
Well, same. I really want to. I've only been to Miami once, and I'm actually hoping to go sometime in the next month or so. So we'll see. But I only went as a teenager once, and I really want to explore it. Do you have a favorite thing or favorite part of Miami that you like to check out?
Well, I never experienced Miami, but hopefully there's a chance if I experience there, I could be able to show you someday once I be able to tell you when
Sure.
I have time. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yep. And also Orlando, Florida, I think it's around that area, has Disney World if you want to go there. If you're a
Yeah,
fan.
I went once as a kid, and then I think they have a water park nearby that I went as a teenager. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I know I got to go check it out again. We got a
Yeah.
lot to do, my friend. There's so much of the world to try to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of hobbies, yeah, like that's my other. I love traveling too, and just experiencing different cultures and people and different ways of living. I love traveling, but I like to get a sense of what people who live there, what their lives are like, versus just going to see all the sights, the whatever. Whether it's, I mean, it's cool to see the Empire State Building, obviously, or like the Statue of Liberty, but it's also cool to see how people in New York live and other places that I've gone to.
yeah, true. I mean, New York City, I actually want to go there someday because it has a lot of Broadway shows. Like, if you want to get into acting, trust me, I want
Yeah.
to go there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good, they say a lot of directors say that theater actors and obviously Broadway musical theater too, like um is they're naturally their skill set naturally translates to voice acting, because more so than on camera actors, because on camera you can be very subtle and sort of to yourself, and like you have your whole body to do your acting, but it can come off as boring when you're voice acting because you need to hear all the motions through your voice. um, but yeah, in the theater they're used to using their voice and playing to the back row and everything, so um, yeah, it's a good skill set to have.
Yeah, I mean, theater is the best way to start because when some directors have to get you 2 days to get familiar with the scripts, sometimes it could be difficult for them because it could be too emotional or something. But it's best to do great of what they're doing by studying. That's the
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Have you ever been to Comic Cons where you watched the Q&A show with the voice actors of how they got their career in voiceover?
um I haven't been to too many cons. I've been to LA Comic Con a handful of times, and then there was a Palm Springs Comic Con that I went to. But I have yet to go to the big one in San Diego. And but yeah, in LA, the ones that I've gone to, um, yeah, I've sat in on some mostly panels with voice actors. I don't know if I've sat in on one where it's a you know an interview about voiceover and stuff. A lot of the ones I went to were more sort of like improvising with voice actors, and I actually got to be on a panel doing that, which was a lot of fun. Um, a couple months back, but yeah, yeah. There's yeah, I've gone to a couple where they're talking to like casting directors, voice actors, voice directors about the industry, and um, I always try to sit in on one when I'm there if I can, because any opportunity to learn, I'm all for that.
Yep. I mean, Comic Cons are one of the best conventions that everyone ever wants to experiences. Like, speaking of that, if there are some students that want to get in a career voiceover, if they want to work with you, the first thing you have to do is just go to a Q&A show, listen to what the voice actor said, bring your notepad, and write what tips they have to give out. That's the
Mhm.
best part.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, outside of cons, you go to there are plenty of podcasts and books like yours that are super helpful in demystifying voice acting, and also like letting people, teaching them the real ins and outs to become a professional voice actor. But yeah, the other thing about the Comic Cons is like I'm always so impressed with how people dress up and how all out they go with their costumes. It's really cool to see.
Yep, true. I mean, I really always wanted to take a picture with the people in the cosplay suits because I was like, is that even real? Which I'm not sure because I did saw an animatronic outfit of I think it was Bonnie, I think. It was like the zombie one. I was really frightened of how they got to control it with the mouth and the eyes.
Oh wow, that's epic.
Yeah.
That sounds, I hope you did take a picture with him.
Yeah. Say, if you ever come to a convention center near Orlando, Florida, hopefully I could get to meet you someday and be able to show you all around in Florida because it's one of the best and most peaceful states that you should visit someday.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I would love to get to meet you and have you show me where to go and go to the Comic Con over there. But I've been to Florida a decent amount. But I've been to Orlando, I want to say a couple times in my life. I've actually been to Gainesville uh, a few times because my dad went to the University of Florida, which is not far from Orlando. It's like I want to say an hour and a half north. Um, so yeah, we got to, and we were big college football fans growing up, so we got to watch a couple games at their on campus over there at Ben Hill Griffith Stadium. Um, but yeah, so I love exploring, and again, Florida has great nature too. It's a lot flatter than California, but they have interesting swamps and just like ecosystems. And I have to warn you, if you ever come to California, I don't know if you like going in the water. Um, some people aren't ready for this. In California, the water is cold, which I love on a hot day because it's refreshing. But in Florida, it was hot, man. I went to Clearwater Beach in near Tampa Bay in the summer one year, went in the water, and it felt like I was in a jacuzzi. I'd never been in such hot ocean water before.
Yeah, I mean, Florida is one of the most hottest state here in Florida, but right now it's freezing out there.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh man, I didn't know it can get that cold.
yeah. Hopefully, if there's a chance, I could be able to show you around in Disney World if you try to come because there are so many attractions and rides you should experience there. Trust me.
Cool. I would love to. Yeah, hopefully we can make that happen one day.
Yep. In the future, if God knows this, but we'll see. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay. Next question. How's it like being part of the Netflix anime series Uku, The Inner Chambers?
Um, that was a cool one to work on. You're refreshing my memory. I'm lucky enough to do a good amount of dubbing and not as much anime, but still do some anime. So a lot of times it's also like code names and stuff, so I get everything mixed up. But yeah, I remember that one was a really cool one. It was a really interesting story, in terms of sort of flipping the gender roles a- and interweaving it with like um the Japanese hierarchy, traditional hierarchy and stuff. Um so yeah, that was a lot of fun to work on. I didn't play like a huge character on it, but it was still cool to get to explore that world. And speaking of directors, Carrie Kiernan was my director for that, and oh my gosh, she's so fun just as a human being. She's like a firecracker of energy and just like incredibly funny and fun and exciting to be around and work with.
Yep. I actually watched the whole anime series and I got to admit it was perfect. The whole story and everything is fantastic. Trust me.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I have yet to watch it myself, like aside from having worked on it in little clips, but yeah, I definitely got to check it out. I've heard good things.
Yep, I'm really glad to hear so far. I mean, Carrie, she is such an awesome voice director, and also one of the best voice actors in Miraculous Ladybug was Christina V and Bryce Payment Brook, which
Oh
other
yeah.
two legends.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, final question. What are your dream roles that you would like to voice in the future? It could be like Demon Slayer, Marvel, or something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All of the above. Can I say that?
Sure.
I I I'm lucky enough to work in all kinds of voiceover, so really the dream is to just do more of it. And the more and the bigger the roles, the better, it would be really cool if I could one day be, if there's another Prince of Persia game coming out, to play the Prince of Persia, just because that's my background, and I would really love to be able to infuse the character with my background and experiences and how I'm familiar with my culture. But other than that, I mean, yeah, there's some like anyone on X-Men. I always loved X-Men. Gambit was my favorite character, watching the animated series in the 90s. Um, and yeah, just doing more like it would be really cool to play uh, big characters, whether it's like a well-known superhero Marvel character or just a totally new character. But it'd be cool to do one in a video game where I'm in a PCAP suit and get to play in what they call the volume, which is what they record all the voice actors in, and it's more like on camera or theater acting where you memorize your lines and you move around in the space. So it'd be cool to experience more of that too.
Well, that's very awesome. Hopefully, if you could get a chance to voice them in the future, if God notices twice and more. But we'll
That would be
see.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's a chance.
Well, let me ask you, do you have a dream role if you could pick anything? What would yours be?
Oh, my dream role is I wanted to like become like the current voice of Mickey Mouse because I've been practicing it since I was like really young. And most certainly I wanted to voice I think one of the trainers in Pokemon, which if I'm not mistaken, since it has a new series that's on I'm not sure on Netflix, I think. Not sure.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Wow. Cool. That's I know Sarah Natacheni, she's been the voice of Ash Ketchum for geez, I want to say like 17 years or something. And she's yeah, the ultimate trainer, but she was a lot of fun and a great human being too. I wish you the best of luck cuz I'm sure there will only be more trainers down the line, you know. So who knows? Maybe one day you'll be the right fit for one of them.
Yeah, hopefully if there's a chance. I also hope that I could get to be in a Mario or a Sonic game because I've been crazy about playing them as a kid. Hopefully if there's a chance.
Yeah,
If
that would be fun.
yeah, if the casting director knows, because some of the directors wanted to make sure if some of the aspiring voice actors has like the right accent and the perfect dialogue for the characters, just like the original actors done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun to do. Yeah, I loved playing all kinds of video games growing up, but the one that I played the most when I was a teenager was the original Super Smash Brothers, which to this day is probably my favorite game of all time. It's so much fun. That's probably where I developed most of my voiceover skills just because when I play with friends, we'd be doing voices all the time. Usually we would just do Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions, you know. So we'd just be yelling at each I was Donkey Kong or Ness most of the time and yeah. And just like yelling at each other as Arnold was some of my favorite childhood memories.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Hopefully, if we could get to voice them in the future, if God will pick us, there would be a chance. But we'll
That would
see.
be cool. Yeah.
Yep.
As long I think as long as you're taking the steps like you are of you know, trying new things out, learning from them, making mistakes, and then from what you've learned from those mistakes, taking new steps, eventually you'd be surprised at what you could accomplish.
Yep, true. But we'll see. Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's a chance.
Sounds good.
Yep. All right, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much, John, for joining here in my podcast series. It really means a lot.
Oh, thanks so much for bringing me on, Richard. I really appreciate it.
You're very much welcome. And a shout out goes to Sebastian Brannen, which inspired me to interview you for the very first time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love Sebastian. That was really fun chatting with him too.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
such a funny dude, and he's also awesome. And the link goes to him as well. If you want to check out my description, make sure to subscribe to him and give a notifications on and support him if you want to hear more interviews with him like this one.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a great day. And remember, stay awesome, stay positive, and stay happy for all of your fans. All right. Take care, Sean.
All right, you too, Richard. Nice chatting with you.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.